racing right now.
He's got traction, he's got everything outside of both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson! Anderson's up top!
Oh my god! Big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's gonna get rolled!
Section's very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly.
Oh, there we go!
Oh no! That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my god!
God, what?
Welcome to the island. Phillip Island plays host to round number 1 of the Pro Truck Showdown right here on SimSpeed TV. All the action coming to you live. My name is Jay Kennedy. Alongside me here at the island is Cameron Dance. Cam, we're going to have a lot of fun. Bizarre cars and tracks when you look at the combo. And it's going to be a lot of fun. We've watched in practice, guys have been able to throw it out sideways and get very, very aggressive. Means we're going to have a very, very cool show.
Yeah, we certainly are. It's going to be really, really fun to watch these trucks get around here, obviously being a very odd car to see around the island, but nevertheless, it's looking like it's going to be a really, really cool night of racing, and obviously here at Phillip Island, it's going to make it that much more interesting.
Definitely, as you can see here, where we are at Phillip Island and running the Pro 2 trucks. But firstly, the circuit doesn't really need that much of an introduction. It's one of the most synonymous circuits, not only on iRacing, but in Australia and in Australasia, with our friends like yourself over in New Zealand understanding the circuit very well. One of those cool tracks. You can know a track is cool when pretty much every corner is known by name and not by number. That's my theory. If you've got a track that's known by name or corner names, you've got a pretty cool synonymous circuit for everything around the world.
Yeah, certainly, and it really adds to it as well to have it all. Well, for it to have those various different names, you could almost say it's the same for the Nürburgring, where nearly every corner's got its own special name, albeit in German and very different pronunciations. But nevertheless, it's but yeah, it's really one of those things about these sort of tracks where if you pretty much know it like the back of your hand, and you've probably done hundreds, if not thousands, of laps in your time.
Of course, this was the home to Australia and New Zealand sim racing, or iRacing, for a long, long time before we had Bathurst and Oran Park added to the iRacing service. Qualifying is just beginning. The drivers get 1 lap in these Pro 2 trucks. Now, we're very, very familiar to seeing the Pro 2 light trucks, which we've seen in Just Send It, but these are the Pro 2 trucks. A little bit more power, which means that these guys will really fling it out sideways. The only other issue is they have to actually drive it on the circuit to put in a qualifying time right now.
Yes, certainly, and there's not really any opportunities to cut the course and actually gain some form of an advantage as well around Phillip Island compared to somewhere like Balliol or Laguna Seca or somewhere like that. It's actually very, very hard to cut the corners and actually gain an advantage. So you're probably not going to find too many people cutting corners and driving on the green stuff, but who knows, we might see some very odd things.
We will definitely see some pushing and shoving when it comes time for the races in a few minutes' time. The format is very, very simple. 3 races for the drivers. First race, 5 laps. Second race, 6 laps with a reverse grid. And then the main event at the end, an 8-lap feature based off the positions from race 2. And then at the end of the night, they add up the points and work out the winner, which I think is a pretty cool format. It should lead to a lot of very, very aggressive racing, because every position is going to count in every single race.
Yeah, it certainly is, and it's a very interesting format as well, with it being 3 races in the one session as well. We don't typically normally see it. We see normally 2, maybe one race, and then moving over to another session, but 3 races in the one session. Really, really cool format to see, sort of akin it to the likes of Toyota Racing Series or various other series out there which use a 3-race format, and really is spicing it up as well with the fact that there's going to be an entire field invert as well in that second race. So yeah, looking forward to seeing how that's going to pan out and what sort of carnage is going to ensue.
We've got 16 cars for tonight's racing. They will all feature in all 3 races, which is very, very cool. Jamie Craig here about to finish his lap. Aaron Dillon has put down the marker time, only 0.2 of a second ahead of Dane Priest. Few drivers won't get a time on the board. They've only been given 5 minutes to get 1 flying lap in. one shot at qualifying, which has meant that a lot of drivers won't get a shot at all to finish their lap because some have ruined it as they've come through turn 1. So not much of a chance. One of those drivers is Jamie Craig. He has ruined it at some point around the lap. Mitchell McLeod's only just left the pits for his lap. Damien Westbrook won't get across the line because the checkered flag is out. Let's have a look at our grid for heat number 1, or race number 1, I should say. And the grid is as follows. I'll get you to run through it, Cam, because my graphics have just stopped on me.
So on pole and on the front row, we've got Aaron Dillon and Dwayne Peace. Row 2, Cade Donnelly and Nicholas Walsh. Tom Maxfield rounding out the top 5 with Phillip Howell rounding out the 3rd row. Row 4, Gary Wellman and Troy Davison rounding out the top 10 will be Matt Bailey and Mitchell McLeod, Blake Urquhart and Reese Frank, Christopher Finlay, Jamie Craig, Damien Westbrook, Justin Howe, Malcolm Coates and William Layton rounding out the 18-car field.
It's showing 18 positions, but showing only 16 cars at the same time, but that's a bit weird. But we get ready to go, and 5 laps. Should be around about a 10-minute race for these drivers. Very, very quick racing in this format, which I think is really cool as well, because if you do have a bad run, it's not long before you get a second chance, and you'll probably be looking for a bit of redemption as we get ready to go.
Yeah, certainly standing start's going to make it interesting as the green flag is in the air and everybody getting away actually quite well, to be honest. I thought there was going to be a lot more wheel spin, but nevertheless, a very, very solid start for your poleman Aaron Dillon, and they're nearly 3 wide in the background as well.
A good clean start, good to see as we're on board with Dillon. Gets a little hit from his teammate in Priest there, but they do all get through okay, and all have made it through turn 1 nice and safe, which is good to see. As you can see, almost 3 wide. I don't think they're really fit 3 wide, but very, very clean start. Maxfield trying to get a move done on Priest, but he's left the door open for Donnelly, and Donnelly's going to go through, and also Walsh as well. So a little bit of a mistake there for Todd Maxfield, and he's dropped back to 8th from 3rd coming through turn 2.
Yeah, just dropped 2 wheels on the dirt and got really, really sideways, and that's contact happening. Bit of barge going on, and everybody's trying to find traction at the same time.
Crazy start to this race, so those were teammates coming together, so there'll be a little bit of sledging going on. I know they're all on Discord together as well, which will make it a little bit more entertaining in amongst. Have a look at this little battle here. Contact between just behind, where was that? Blake Urquhart was involved. I saw that, and Christopher Finlay, he almost ended up back at the other side of Siberia.
They certainly did with the contact that was going on. A lot of carnage early on here in this mid pack, and obviously no harm, no foul with the fact that these cars can handle a bit of biff and barge. But yeah, that was quite the tumble that Finlay ended up taking.
Todd Maxfield will be looking for redemption here, of course. As we said, was up in 3rd, coming through turn 2 on lap 1. He's just forced McLeod a little bit wide. McLeod runs off the circuit, and he'll drop that spot as we complete lap number 1 of 5 in race 1. Phillip Howell's dropped a long way back after that incident earlier on this lap through Honda hairpin. But Dillon, Priest, Connolly, Wellman and Walsh are top 5 at this stage. McLeod and Maxfield looks like to be the battle at the moment. They are very, very tight.
Yeah, they certainly are very tight. Mitch trying to get a move it done down the front straight, but thought better of it. But he's going to throw it up the inside at turn 2 at the southern loop, and is going to get the job done. He's actually going to get 2 for 1 here on Troy Davidson with a bit of contact, and Davidson's actually going to get shoved out twice.
And left the door open there for Maxfield to come through, and Davison drops back to 8th position. Got 1 car in the pits, that being Christopher Finlay. He is dropped out of the race at this stage. As we go up a little bit further, Nicholas Walsh applying a lot of pressure here to Gary Wellman. This is a good little fight just here.
Yeah, it actually is. Walsh doing a pretty decent job at the moment to hold off Wellman. Is putting the pressure on quite well currently. Not too far off the back, but nevertheless he's done pretty good.
Cool to see how sideways they are as well. We're looking at speeds down the front straight before we went live, and I think my numbers said around about 215, 220 down the front straight. I know the Pro 2 light trucks are lucky to get 180, so around about 40 kilometers an hour faster these than the light version of these trucks, which is awesome in regards to the pace that they've got. It means that the racing can be a lot more aggressive.
Yeah, certainly a little bit more power than what the light trucks have, so they're able to achieve a bit more speed and also get that rear end out quite sideways as well. But Walsh is gonna send it up the inside with a much better run than Wellman. He's gonna be side by side down the front straight and gonna be on the outside for turn number 1. So this is gonna be interesting to see how this goes for Walsh here, being stuck on the outside. But if he can hold it, he's gonna have the inside, but decides to back out and stick behind for the time being.
It's on for the lead as well because Aaron Dillon has pressure from behind from the man that's just set the fastest lap of the race so far, Dane Priest, and he's up the inside. He might get this done coming out of turn 2. Out of the southern loop, Priest gets the run and will have the advantage right now through Stoner Corner.
Yeah, he's going to have the advantage, but he's not going to be able to have the inside for the hairpin. He's going to be left to hang out to dry, and he's actually going to hold the second place with the fact that Donnelly's just sitting in on behind, but he's got the crossover nearly and a bit of contact for good measure, but again left to hang out to dry on the outside, and Dillon's going to hold on to the lead for the time being.
They're very, very close, and Wellman and Walsh, they've split. They were nose to tail. We saw coming into Honda, you could see in the background, but Walsh has dropped and now has McLeod for company as he makes his way forward. But Priest applying a huge amount of pressure right now. I wouldn't be surprised to see a move. I reckon Honda on the next lap. He's going to try and make this move.
Yeah, probably is, and he's going to throw it into MG as well and nearly makes contact and gets a little bit of wheel spin for good measure as well on the way out of the corner. So really attacking hard is Dwayne Priest here to try and make this one work and try and get into the lead of this race as well, although it's one thing that he probably might not want to do as well because of the whole field invert, so he might be better off to just sit in second here, but still plenty of points on the line.
A very, very quick modem simulation replay of Jamie Craig. This is a very, very alternate line. We did say that we didn't think there was going to be a huge amount of course cutting. Maybe we were wrong. Look at that.
I guess you'd say that's the jockey lap.
There's some good course cutting there. I'm not sure if it's actually worked for him or not, but we'll find out soon. We come back live. I like seeing that stuff. McLeod about to try and get this move done on Walsh. In the background, you can see change of position there. Justin Howe, who we need to thank for getting this series up and running. Been doing a lot of testing in the background to get this up and running. He's just gained a spot there on Todd Maxfield. McLeod up the inside from nowhere and gets it done on Nicholas Walsh.
Yeah, certainly a very, very solid move by McLeod to lick the step and send it, and it's also on for the lead as well between the two. Again, Priest nearly had the job done at the hairpin, but got left to hang out to dry at Siberia, unfortunately, so he's going to have to stay on in behind for another lap, and they're actually going to have to make a move this time by because we're coming up to the white flag very, very shortly.
Yeah, he needs to work out where he can get this move done. I'm wondering if in the background whether Jamie Craig's actually just brought it back to the pits. I think his course cutting may have either resulted in some sort of penalty or he may have been a little bit too aggressive. I was wondering if Craig was trying to work out where he could cut so that Priest could get through. Have a look at the different line he's taking to try and get the run and get the advantage. I don't know if he's going to be able to get it done this lap though.
It's looking mighty close between the two of them, and it looks like he might have just done enough to get a nice run, but he's probably not going to be close enough. He's going to have to send it Dillon into defensive move on the inside, but he's going to try and hold it around the outside. Not quite.
Oh, that was very, very tight between the two leaders. Dillon was on the pole. Done enough at this stage. Oh my goodness, that's close. There was definitely some contact between the two there, which we like to see.
It's going to be interesting to see what he does here. Sits in behind ever so slightly on the way into the hairpin. Dillon goes defensive once again, and Priest is going to have to go around the outside. He's going to try the crossover here on the exit, but not quite going to be able to get gripped out or the traction and end up going to be sitting in a bucket of wheel spin.
Yeah, hard to do a crossover move coming out of Honda because you end up on the wrong side at Siberia as well. You really need to set up the run out of Siberia to get the momentum up through Lukey Heights and then be able to throw it at MG. But I must say Aaron Dillon has done a great job in this race so far to maintain this position and hold on to the lead of the race. He's had a lot of pressure, but for now he's done enough. Of course, this is race 1. We've still got 2 more races to go. We're going to reverse the grid for the next one, which I'm very, very excited about. These guys coming from the back of the field will be good to watch. Dylan Priest and Donnelly, 1, 2, 3 in this race at the moment. And it looks like for now they are going to hold on to those positions.
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be any sort of move happening in it. It's probably fair to say that it is well and truly sealed for Austin Dillon here, who's going to take the win.
Oh, Donnelly, hold on, just does. These guys have done a great job. They're going to have a 5-second margin over the rest of the field. Congratulations to Aaron Dillon, Dane Priest, and Cade Donnelly. Cloud will come home in 4th. Remember, he started in 10th. We've got a drag race to the line. Wellman just finished ahead of Walsh there by 7 hundredths of a second. We need a replay of that.
Yeah, that was a very, very close finish between those 3 cars, and it was nose to tail between all of them. It would have taken a matter of just getting the run wrong, and that's all it took for Wellman, and it was a very close finish in the end. You could just see he ran a little bit deep into the corner and allowed the car of Nicholas Walsh to get up alongside, and even had Justin Howe in there as well, who nearly managed to get to alongside enough to gain another place, but just wasn't quite in the end.
Really cool battle between those guys in the end of that race. We'll quickly grab the results from race 1 because we're about to go and do it all again. Dylan, Priest, Donnelly, the top 3, all separated by a second. McLeod from 10th to 4th. Wellman in 5th, only just over Walsh and Howe. Good job from Justin Howe as well from the back of the field. Todd Maxfield, Troy Davison, and Damien Westbrook, your top 10. Over the page to Urquhart, Bailey, Howe, Leighton, and Finley, with Jamie Craig finishing 1 lap down, I believe, with a DNF. No point is going through the grid. Just reverse those results because race 2 is about to start in around about 5-10 seconds time. As soon as the drivers get on the grid, we're good to go again. I like this format. It is so fast. It is so quick. It is providing a lot of action already in these early phases of the night. We're only just started and we're already a quarter of the way or nearly halfway through the night. It is flying by and it is a lot of fun.
Yeah, it certainly is. It's really mixing it up, especially with this 3-race format. So really, it's going to be quite fascinating to see what happens as the season progresses. And yeah, looking forward to it a lot.
Definitely going to be a lot of fun coming up in just a moment. The drivers get ready to grid. They haven't even got a chance to get a breather. They do get 3 minutes in between race 2 and race 3, but to go from race 1 to race 2 almost instantly, especially for those guys that had an intense battle, they're straight back into the battle with the exact same guys. That is tough. It's a lot tougher than a lot of people would realise.
Yeah, it certainly is a lot tougher, especially with the fact that it's very even. Green flag is in the air and it's reasonably equal start, but everybody's charging through to the front, especially those who were at the front of the field last race. There's a car on the grass as well, for good measure.
Seen that Jamie Craig has been disqualified from the event for some reason, so I think that course cutting may have come back to bite. Maybe he can't cut as aggressively as we saw as the teammates coming together in the background. That's Priest and Dylan making contact. Remember, they were 1 and 2 in the last race, and they're just pushing Donnelly straight out of the way in that number 11. McLeod off the circuit as well.
Yeah, a lot of biff and barge back there in the start of this race, especially between Wellman and a couple of others, and McLeod receiving the short end of the stick. Oh, one more contact at the hairpin as well.
That was Leighton as well around, and 45 there of Wellman also. Well, he got straightened up pretty good in the end, but didn't look too good. But Finley leading this race. I'm not sure why our graphics are not showing the correct order. We'll try and fix that while we're going. There we go. Look at the magic you can make work sometimes.
It's the funny thing about those overlays, which you very well know, but it's all going on as Mitchell Cloud sending it up the inside of Dwayne Priest on the way up to Loogie Heights.
He's going to try another one.
He's going to try another one as well. Get possibly 3 for 1. Not quite going to be able to do it, but he's going to be side by side with Matt Bailey, and he's going to drive around the outside, and Bailey's going to cop it from Dwayne Priest as well, and hold up Austin Dillon and Nicholas Walsh in the process.
Yeah, it looks like Bailey may have a penalty because he's bringing it into the lane, but it's on for the lead positions. Dillon, how did he get up there so quickly? I'm sure that he started at the rear of the grid. Like, they didn't mix that up somehow and put him at the front. He's already into second.
Yeah, he's just nearly driven around the outside of his teammate there as well at turn 1. So he's certainly on a charge, is Aaron Dillon, and making full use of the pace that he has. So doing it not too bad, but Westbrook at the moment has his hands full with trying to find a way on by Aaron Dillon and also Phillip Powell at the same time.
I think he's regretting making it a little bit too easy coming out of MG and through 11 and 12 as the teammates touch again. Phillip Powell must be getting a little bit sick of the biff and barge going on, and I think he's just said I've had enough and just hip check Dillon. Dillon drops back to third. Phillip Powell now in second position, I should say. Tell you who's Dillon just got hip checked again that time by Westbrook, and Westbrook gets 2 for 1.
Yeah, certainly he took full advantage of that scenario.
Oh, he's going to redress.
He's going to redress though, by the looks of it. But here comes Christopher Finlay as well.
Finlay's
He's going to send
down.
it up the inside.
I think Finlay may have missed a gear there because he was very, very slow coming out of Siberia. But Westbrook definitely slowed up because he had momentum and then all of a sudden slowed up. But now we've got the top 5 all in the same shot. This is pretty cool. Justin Howe is in this now. And so is Troy Davison.
Yeah, everybody's starting to get into this little battle. The fact that everybody's been fighting so hard up the front of the field, and it's really just backed them up and brought everyone behind straight into this. So got net pretty much a 7-car train in this, and yeah, who knows what's going to happen from here.
It's a cool little fight. Remember, this is a 6-lap race for race 2. Then the final of the night will be an 8-lap feature. Looks like we've lost Dane Priest from this race as well. He's in the pits. Matt Bailey is also in the pits. 3 wide into turn 1 as there's contact between the 8 of Westbrook and the 96 of Phillip Powell. But Dillon has got himself into the lead, and Westbrook sent off the circuit.
Oh, and he's going to cop it as well when he comes back on from Troy Davison on the way in. So he's managed to just recover it there, but nearly ended in tears. And there's actually a car rolling in the background at turn 2.
Yeah, that's Gary Wellman has sustained a little bit of damage from that too. We go back to the front because Dillon is through, Howe into second, Justin that is, and Phillip Howe back to third. Christopher Finlay, remember a lap ago, he had a 1.5 lead at this point of the track. It's all gone. He's 2 seconds behind the leader.
Yeah, what a dramatic change one single lap can do, and then pretty much halfway through this race as well. So the laps have just blinked on by extremely quickly, and it's just been a melee between everyone trying to find positions.
McLeod now into this battle too, so as you just see in the back of shot there, a little bit of argy-bargy going on as McLeod and Davison come together.
Howell's off.
That's Phillip Howell off in the 96. Tell you what, I'm glad that there's not any more cars because this is so intense. It's so hard to keep up already.
Yes, certainly a lot going on. I mean, difficult to come see what's going on as Westbrook at the 2 teammates and also Finlay coming together out of the final corner side by side down the front straight, and it's probably going to be in favour of Finlay as they head down towards turn number 1. But Westbrook's going to try it around the outside, but it's going to get shoveled out.
Just hit 218 kilometres an hour down the hill as well, which is some good pace. We're halfway through race number 2 of 3. Westbrook gets back through, slides it back up the inside, and McLeod is in this now too. Is he side by side with Davison?
I don't think Mitch was actually going to make a move at turn 1, but he's decided that he's going to get the run out of it, turn 2 at Southern Loop, and he's managed to do that quite nicely. Now all over the back of it, Chris Finlay and Westbrook just ahead of fighting enormously hard at the moment, and Mitch going to try around the outside and is going to not have that one work, as we've seen previously, that it's not possible to quite hang around the outside in these things. And two massive licorice slips left by Christopher Finlay, and that's going to allow McLeod up the inside and straight on by.
One thing about these, though, the amount of power that they do have, you can over and under in the same corner, especially at Siberia. We've seen it a few times where guys have just held that outside, it's almost checked up in the mid-corner, and then thrown it back up the inside as the guys on the inside take the late apex and run wide.
Yes, definitely, and it's definitely one of those things. There's a bit of biff and barge in the background between, I believe that was Troy Davison and Nicholas Walsh, but nevertheless they've managed to keep it a little bit straight. But yeah, it is quite fascinating to see the difference that the extra power is making in these trucks, and what sort of advantage it's also having is Troy Davison and also Christopher Finlay now side by side down at the front straight by the looks of it. And they're going to have Nicholas Walsh for company as well. He's going to look to see what these two do and whether they're going to come together, and it looks like they are.
Bump there from the car of Finlay in the 104, but he's stuck on the outside. Will he be able to get over and under? No, because Davison just holds the line there, and Walsh closes the door of any opportunity for an over and under through Southern Loop. Oh no! Oh, held on there did the car of Troy Davison. I thought he was ending up in the fence and almost heading to Tassie.
They're certainly. Oh, and Finlay's on the brakes, and there's contact from Phillip out behind, and out nearly getting rolled by the 18 of Blake Urquhart, who takes nearly 3 in 1.
And it's on for third as well, because McLeod's going to try that same move again. I'll tell you what, 2 laps in a row, he's made it work. McLeod into third position just by holding the outside into the approach of Siberia. That is going to be the move for the night, I think. I think guys that may look back over the 3 minutes, they'll have people that are watching that will say, run it wide through Siberia, and then you get the position almost instantly. Just momentum is so good that way.
Could be the way, and you wouldn't think it would be, but it clearly is, as Urquhart cops it from behind by Chris Finlay, trying to return surf, I guess you could say.
That was a send.
Out.
You talk about sends, that was a pretty extreme one from Finlay. I didn't think he was going to pull that up, but he's going to try and get the run through turn 12 as we're about to get the white flag. And I'll tell you what, some of these drivers will be hanging out for the end of this race just to get their breath back, because it has been intense. This has been full on, and we're going to see this every week for the next 6 weeks.
Yes, there's been no lack of action in these two races so far, and it's going to be no lack of action as well throughout the series. So, yeah, who knows what's going to happen in race 3 and whether there's going to be any sort of carnage or any sort of drama, but it's certainly going to have at least some.
Third position is not settled yet. McLeod and Westbrook still going at it. Westbrook, I think, might have learnt from that little move that he saw McLeod do. He's just happy sitting back, give him a little bump, get to the inside through Honda, get yourself on the outside for Siberia. I think we're going to see the move come back here. I think we're going to see almost instant replay. No, not able to hold the outside line. Oh, actually, I take that back. I take that back. Good move from Westbrook.
He certainly got the elbows out there, did Westbrook, by getting it up the inside on the crossover, and Mitch is going to look around the outside. Not going to be close enough this time around, so he's going to have to
stop him.
Station.
It's not going to stop him. Look at the momentum he's carrying through Lukey Heights. McLeod has got so much more speed through the faster corners. He just looks like he's able to carry that momentum. Oh, he's got it done. A little bit of contact, but I think that's fair game in this.
Yeah, it did look like it was probably a bit deep on the brakes, but obviously there's been probably worse sort of contact, so I think that's probably fair game. But Aaron Dillon, and that's going to be win number 2 in a row.
Amazing, come from the back of the grid and was into third position before the end of lap 1. Justin Howe into second position. Great drive from him, and McLeod in third. Westbrook fourth. Walsh is going to hold on for 5th, but it's on for 7th between Urquhart, Maxfield and Finlay. Donnelly and Howe, they are going to settle into their positions. Gary Wellman's just going to limp it home. Remember, he was I just saw a car get shot into space at the back of shot there. I've just noticed on the timing, we are going to have to get a replay, because remember I said Urquhart was fighting for position. Have a look at the gap on the side of the screen in this battle here between Urquhart and Maxfield.
Yeah, it was certainly very, very close. There was nothing in it, and at the stripe, it was probably a bumper's width difference between the two of them. It was extremely close.
If we can slow that down a little bit better. Super slow-mo didn't want to work. That's unusual. Barney's watching intently there on the left of screen. That's tight.
That certainly is probably a kilometre an hour difference, and it would have been all Maxfields in the end, I reckon.
1/100th of a second separating those two at the line as we just wait for the last couple of drivers to also cross the line. Race 2 results on screen. Dylan, Howe, Craig. Craig is definitely not third position. Dylan, Howe, McLeod, Westbrook, Walsh, Davison, Urquhart, Maxfield and Finlay. The top 9 as we scroll over the page. Phillip Howe in Cade Donnelly in 10th. 11th went to Phillip Howe. Wellman, Leighton Priest, and then Matt Bailey rounding out the field. Jamie Craig now appearing in the right spot last as the drivers get a little bit of a breather. 3 minutes before we get into our main event. I tell you what, we both need our breath as well. Cam, this has been intense. I have loved it, but it's full on.
Yeah, it certainly has been absolutely full on. Even on a, I guess you could say, longish track like Phillip Island, I can't imagine what it would be like around Belle Isle or somewhere short and tight and twisty. But nevertheless, it's been a heck of a ride so far. And yeah, looking forward to seeing what the final race is going to produce.
The cool thing is as well, the drivers don't know where they're going to race each week until a couple of days before. So nobody can go out there and sneak a little bit of extra practice in or anything like that. I think that's really cool as well. I like that. The drivers are sort of stuck into hoping or not being able to get too much practice in ahead of time. They're basically getting out there and just literally sending it because that's all you can do.
Yeah, so it's pretty much just all about find the gap, send it up the inside or the outside if you're brave enough, and try and hope that it sticks.
It looks like Aaron Dillon's definitely going to be the one to watch in this main event, because he has been super, super quick. But I think there's been a few drivers that have worked their way up positions that you may not have expected from how far back they were. McLeod come from, 10th or 11th. Didn't get a qualifying time in for race 1 and worked his way forward from there. Phillip Howe, he's going to be interesting to watch because remember, race 1 he was on the podium. He's going to have to work his way forward from about 11th position. Nicholas Walsh will be interesting to watch, and then those battles where we've seen drivers cross the line side by side in 2 races in a row, the likes of Urquhart, who else have we got? Finlay as well, Maxfield, that little group there, that's going to be really, really cool to watch with this longer race as well.
Yeah, it certainly is, and it's going to produce all sorts of weird and wonderful racing and hopefully some really, really good battles again in this third race and seeing what it's possibly going to entail.
Do you want to be a part of the series as well? Registrations are open. Shoot us a message on our Facebook page and we can hook you up with the Discord information. We will also put it in the description on the YouTube feed in a little bit. Sort of have a little bit of a rush to get things organised for tonight. We've had a little bit of a crazy day, but of course that's what happens when you've got build coming up, and of course a big week as well. Of course, iRacing Coca-Cola e-NASCAR Series race was on earlier today, and V8 Scott's Bathurst 1000 this weekend. Heaps going on in the sim racing world, even though it's our technical week off.
Yeah, certainly. It's not week 13, it's week 14 this time around due to a leap season, so an extra week of racing, I guess you could say. But yeah, it's there's a lot going on this week, and there's a lot coming out in just a few hours. So it's going to be quite exciting to see what happens with this new update and what sort of what the content's going to produce, I guess.
Exactly right. It's probably one of the most hyped up builds we have had in a long time as we get the starting grid for our final race up on screen. Dylan, Priest, Donnelly, Walsh, the front four. So it's not based off positions in the last, as far as I can see. Hang on, let me click that. Is that right? Are you seeing that same grid? I'm not sure.
Yeah, that would be... No, that's not quite right.
Okay, well, let's just scrap that. We'll run with, yeah, looks like that is the grid based off race 2's results. So actually get ready to go. Revs are rising, 8 laps for the main event, and away we go. Horrible start there from Justin Howe in P2. He's already lost a spot to Mitchell McLeod up the inside, so McLeod will go to second. He's got to watch out for Westbrook as well, who's going to get through. Damien Westbrook will take third position side by side with Justin Howe.
And Howe's just barely going to hold around the outside, and that's going to be Westbrook off the road, managing to hold on and rejoin just
where he was.
Safely enough.
Gets his spot back, which is sort of good, but he's going to lose out because he just hasn't got enough speed. He may have a slowdown as well. Of course, lap 1 slowdowns can be hectic. Oh, I tell you what, I'm glad we were on board for that because that happened from nowhere. 23 of Davison just came from nowhere, and now Westbrook is going to try and get a move done on Walsh. And Urquhart and Walsh.
Oh no!
Oh no. Wellman's gone for a barrel roll. And so is Davison, and also Cade Donnelly, who was probably one of the favourites when you saw the pace he had in race 1. He's got a lot of work to do from the back of the field. Troy Davison, though, is out of this race. Aaron Dillon now has some pressure from McLeod. This is the first pressure he's had from a non-teammate in the entire night.
Yes, certainly. He's been pressured by his teammates all night long so far and been a very close fight with them as well. But McLeod's finally challenging the man who's won first 2 races, and the interesting to see what this battle turns out to be like, because both are very decent drivers from what we've seen in the first 2 races.
So if McLeod can set up that move that he'd been trying to do, or had done past a few other drivers. Aaron Dillon, again, 2 out of 3 races he's led at the end of lap 1, and the other one came from last to third on the first lap. Now has some real pressure from McLeod, who's trying around the outside through turn 1, and he may actually get it done. He does, around the outside through turn 1.
Well, I've just been proven wrong because we didn't think that was possible. As now he's getting a bit of a shuffle back from Dylan, who's going to send it up the inside. And it's going to be a drag race on the way down into the Honda hairpin. McLeod's going to be on the outside. He's not quite going to have overlap. He's barely going to hold on, though. And he's just going to do enough to have the inside for the hairpin as a result. And Dylan going to try hold it around the outside, but to no avail.
Yeah, I think Dylan, if he's heard about what McLeod have been doing, he's probably not upset to let McLeod go through, because he might be able to come back and do those same sort of moves that McLeod had done, but not able to get the momentum. So McLeod now leads, Dylan in second, Howe in third, but have a look at the gap that they've already pulled on the rest of the field. Westbrook 3 seconds back, Urquhart 2 seconds back from there, and a cool battle between Urquhart and Walsh once again.
Yeah, Walsh going to be having to try and hold around the outside, but not going to be successful. Nearly all over the back of Urquhart, but just not quite able to get the job done at the moment. He's got his 2 teammates, Maxford and Priest, behind him, as well as Howe. So it's a 4-car train of teammates, and Walsh going to try around the outside on the exit of turn 12, and he's going to have his teammate for company as well.
Yeah, I think Walsh was going to try and set up a move, and Maxfield just took that spot straight away. Sorry, going to have to cut away though, because back to the front, McLeod and Dillon crossed the line, and I think that gap was about 0.001.
Yeah, that was definitely going to the 4th decimal point based on the fact that it's 3-0. So it was very close. And Urquhart's going to get shuffled out as well in that battle. But at the front, it's seriously on between those 2.
Sure is. McLeod and Dillon are going to fight all the way. But Justin Howe is in this because he just set the fastest lap of the race. He was a second quicker than these two that are fighting at the front. Aaron Dillon, Mitchell McLeod, Justin Howe are going to go at this all the way to the end. Justin Howe, though, runs wide and running off the circuit. Not the fastest way, but it's not as bad when you've got the guys ahead of you bumping doors and bumping wheels.
He hasn't lost out too badly due to how hard the two leaders are battling at the moment. And McLeod is going to take the lead off Aaron Dillon for the time being, but Dillon looking to make his way back on wide, but not going to have a gap to be able to do that. But he's still looking, but not quite able to be able to get the job done.
Good little fight here for the lead of the main event. McLeod, Dillon and Howe going at it, and they've already pulled now nearly 5 seconds over the rest of the field. Westbrook in a land of his own, and then Maxfield, Priest, Walsh, Urquhart all together. But this battle for the lead is very, very intense. When you've got all three within a shot, and you know that that is enough of a gap to be able to send it, have a little bit of a bump and get a move done. That means that you need to stay focused, because the lead is going to change very, very quickly. How about 3 wide, boys?
Yeah, it's very, very close as McLeod's going to just hold it around the outside. Is he going to get Dillon? He is, and he's going to do it 2 times for good measure. So he's managed to make that outside work very, very well to his advantage. And now Justin Howell's going to get involved in this up the inside of Dillon. Is he going to hold the move? Not quite. You can see the skid marks on the exit as well. And unfortunately, Dillon is going to be shuffled out. And Howell's actually going to get 2 for 1 here if he can hold it around the outside of the hairpin.
Did you have a little heart attack moment thinking that Justin Howe was going to make it 3 wide going through the middle into turn 1 there for a second? I could see that happening almost in slow motion. I'm glad he didn't do it, but Justin Howe to the lead of the race. McLeod now, look at straight away to try and do this move again. Will he be able to do this over and under that he's done, what, 6 or 7 times probably already in this night of racing? Justin Howe is awake to it, and it's almost cut the exit a little bit to ruin McLeod's momentum. Forces McLeod to the outside through Lukey Heights. I don't know if that's going to be an advantage, because McLeod now has the inside for MG, and he's on the power very, very early. But so is Howe, and Howe will hold on for now. Or will he?
Yeah, well, it's debatable, and he's going to try it around the outside to get the inside for the next corner, and he's just going to be holding on for the time being, and he's going to get on by into the lead of the race.
Good move from Justin Howe. McLeod's going to lose 2. He's run wide. Wheels in the grass at the wrong point of the circuit. He's going to slow all of that momentum down. He's lost nearly 2 seconds just based on that little mistake, running a little bit too wide, trying to hold on to the position. Howe and Dillon now lead this race halfway through. 4 laps done, 4 laps to go. This is intense. This is like, I don't even know how to describe it. It's full on. It's absolutely craziness. And loving every second. Is Aaron Dillon now back to the lead of the race?
Yeah, back up the inside is Aaron Dillon to make it another lead show. This has been who wants to be in the lead. Well, who doesn't want to be in the lead?
I don't think any of them actually want the lead. I think, in saying that, I don't know if you do want to be in the lead. I think MG at the last lap, you almost want to be the second car, because that's where you're going to make that move. But Dillon wasn't sure how he was going to go with some really intense pressure in the final, because we had seen how good he was just driving away from the field, but now he's had some pressure. He's actually coping quite well with it. He's happy to give up the spot when the guys are there, knowing that there's no point fighting with so many laps to go in this race.
Yes, certainly. And I almost liken it to the same as what you find in the likes of Formula Ford and Formula V and those sort of series where draft is such a critical role. Obviously, it's not quite as critical in these cars, but you just find that there's a lot of fighting at the front, but they're still able to work together in a way that allows them to pull away from everybody behind and then still not lose too much time. So it's really, really fascinating to see the differences, obviously crossing over despite being totally different vehicles, but nevertheless, it's still a really, really good fighting going on at the front.
It's a bit like what we've seen in the Skip Barber series, isn't it? Where you get very, very... now I'm going to talk you up here, cam, as much to my disgust. You get drivers that are intelligent enough to know that someone else is the same or similar pace to you. It's faster for the two of you to work together, like you had done with a few of your rivals in the Skip Barber series. You let them go and work with them and draft with them, and you can pull a gap, which gives you free reign for those last couple of laps to battle as hard and as intently as you like, because you know that no one's going to catch you.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just one of those things about racecraft that some people struggle with and some people really pick up very, very easily and then can use that to their advantage. Is How's going to try it around the outside, but not going to be able to do it this time by. Although probably not a bad thing to start trying to set up a move and seeing if you can pull something off like that at the stage with a very few laps to go. But yeah, it's one of those things with the fact that when you're in an equal car situation, I guess, is you're all trying to work together and try and outwit the other guy. I guess it's like a fast-paced version of chess, really.
Exactly right, and they've pulled 6 seconds on the rest of the field, so they've gained a couple of seconds over the last lap and a half, down to 7 seconds. Westbrook's starting to get reeled in by Dwayne Priest, so battle for 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th and 9th could be very, very tight in the next little bit. Cade Donnelly has retired from the race after that incident on lap 1, as we are about to get 2 laps to go in this race, and this is now where these guys are going to start to increase the intensity a little bit. Probably been racing at about 90% intensity just to get a feeler for everyone else in the battle. No worries about feeler anymore, you're going for the win.
Yeah, certainly. It's just sending it at this point to hope for the best and try and do what you can with the fact that it's not too long left in the race. How's going to move it to the race lead, and McLeod's really got a nice run out of turn 1 as well. So right in this battle as well, and is probably actually in the prime position because he's going to be able to pick these two off one at a time in in 2 laps.
Yep, and must say that McLeod's exits have actually been very, very good. He's just struggled under brakes a little bit more, I would think, in regards to the other two in this battle. He's just hasn't quite been able to get the braking maneuvers done, but the exit speed has been where McLeod's been at a real advantage, and we're about to see it right here. This is where he's been really, really strong. Have a look at where he is. Almost this is what's turned into his favourite position. Runs it wide. The only issue he's got now, he's got nowhere to go. Again, big 11s coming from all 3 drivers coming out of Siberia. Howe, Dylan, McLeod, 1, 2, 3. With 1.5 laps to go, all in the same camera shot. Can't ask for much more than this.
Yeah, you certainly can. It's nearly pretty much everybody's hope in a sort of racing situation where you want the top 3 all battling it together, and McLeod's trying to make a move on Justin Howe, but can't quite get it done with nowhere to go. A little bit of contact for good measure, and he's going to drive back underneath him to take a second off Justin Howe, and he's going to put himself in a very, very nice position if he can draw up alongside enough, and it looks like he has, as Howe backs out to work with him. And now McLeod into second, but Howe's going to get a very nice run here down the front straight, but it's going to be on the outside for turn number 1.
White flag in the air, and if we see the guys come across the line like that, we will be absolutely ecstatic. Will be a grandstand finish, 3 wide into turn 1. I was not expecting that, and I'm quite delighted I saw it.
Yeah, that was nearly... I actually thought Howe was going to do 2 for 1 there around the outside, which would have been absolutely incredible, but not quite able to do it, and will slot into second. So Dylan shuffled all the way down into third now. So McLeod leads this race on the final lap of the race, and the big question is, where is he going to lose the position? Because Howe's looking very racy. He's going to go defensive on the way in to the hairpin, but Howe's going to try it around the outside, breaks as late as he dares, draws up alongside just enough bit of contact between Dylan and McLeod, but Howe's going to stay with him actually, and he's going to have the inside for Siberia. McLeod's going to be on the outside, and it's going to be side by side through Siberia. McLeod's doing everything he can to try and hold it around the outside. He's just done enough to hold it, and it's going to be, we're going to have the inside for Hayshed here, but Howe's not going to give this one up easily. And then McLeod's just barely done enough, but Howe's coming back at him.
Oh no! Oh! Big hit, front right into rear left. And these cars very, very strong, so no damage to McLeod. He's okay with that little bump. McLeod, Howe, Dylan, all separated by literally nothing. Who is going to take the win? Dylan's in the wrong spot at the wrong time, and that may help McLeod hold on. He just needs a great exit.
He just needs to do enough at this stage, which it looks like he's done, or maybe not, because Howe looks like he's got a
here he comes.
decent run. It's going to be drag race to the line, and he doesn't quite have the momentum to pull out, and McLeod is going to win it.
Wow, what a battle. What a battle. Under a tenth of a second. Priest comes home in 4th position. Westbrook in 5th. Maxfield in 6th. Walsh in 7th. Urquhart in 8th. Phillip Howe in 9th. Sorry to the guys back in the field for not getting them much coverage in that main event, but when you go back and watch and see what happened at the front of the field, I don't think you'll mind. That was crazy. But Mitchell McLeod, your winner of the feature race. What a night of racing that was. And we get to do it all again next week.
Certainly next week's going to probably be just as, if not even better, with what the show that we saw tonight was. So yeah, looking forward to seeing what this series is going to produce, because it is absolutely bananas.
Absolute understatement there as well, because it was full on crazy. Let's grab race results as Mitchell McLeod does a little bit of an expression session. McLeod, Howe and Dylan separated by 3/10 at the end. That was about the biggest margin they had all race as well. They were separated by almost nothing the entirety of the race, other than that moment where McLeod dropped a little bit of time. Reese comes home in 4th position, 7 seconds back, with Damien Westbrook, Todd Maxfield, Nicholas Walsh, Blake Urquhart, Phillip Howe and Gary Wellman rounding out the top 10. Over the pace to Christopher Finlay, Matt Bailey, William Layton and Troy Davison, the last of the finishers. Cade Connolly, unfortunately, out of the race early on with damage. And Jamie Craig also did not take the start in that one. What a night of racing we had. We'll see if we get some drivers in for a chat. But that was really, really cool. I'm looking forward to the rest of the series now, after seeing how race 1 went.
Yes, certainly. It's been just an awesome night of racing. I mean, there was some conjecture as to what the sort of racing was going to be, whether it was going to be sort of a procession, with the fact that these cars aren't exactly designed for these sort of road courses, and the fact that they don't exactly have a huge amount of power, but they do have an all right amount. So yeah, it was a little bit of maybe, but maybe not. But in the end, it definitely produced some amazing racing, and definitely over-delivered to what we expected.
100% over-delivered. That was crazy, and I loved every minute of it. And cannot wait for next week. We're not sure where we're racing, because we find out on Friday. It is announced every Friday. So find out then. But thank you to everyone who has tuned in. It looks like the drivers are all probably catching their breath after that event. But as we said, next week we'll be back for next race. Our next broadcast here on SimSpeed TV is not now the Hard and Fast. We've had to postpone tonight's Hard and Fast. So we're back Saturday for NASCAR iRacing Series, and then Saturday night doubleheader, Major Series, and the starting of the Bathurst 1000. Starting with qualifying Saturday night and Sunday. Your weekend is sorted with Bathurst all weekend. Bathurst 1000 this Sunday, Cam. Good luck for yourself racing in the Bathurst 1000. Fingers crossed, you make the grid, and if you do, hopefully you have a good result.
Certainly going to probably be a little bit hard to beat the 8th place that I got in the last run I did, but I'm going to give it a red crack and see what happens.
Yeah, good luck to all of the drivers as well for Bathurst. We will see you next week for the Pro Truck Showdown. Looking forward to being back once again next week, next Wednesday at the same time. Until then, we thank you very, very much for tuning in, and we will see you next time.
This is fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction. He's going in the outside of both of them. Maloney.
Oh, he's taking Anderson. Anderson's up to
Oh my God. Oh, big crash. Oh my goodness. Half the field's going to get rolled.
It's very close. These guys want to make their way through the field very quickly.
Oh, there we go.
This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my god!
God, what?